the rental market in Dubai is coming down a little bit. Have you felt that as well?
It's coming down these days a little bit. I also believe that when you are very close to your customer, this is where you understand what they expect.
How many employees do you have?
We have between 30 and 40 employees.
It's such a huge operation.
You cannot be a property manager because you want to be.
But yeah. My name is Bergthor and I'm here with Paul Tarisi. You're the head of Silk House in the UAE, and Silk House is one of the biggest and best operated holiday home companies in Dubai, and you're managing multiple hundreds of Airbnb apartments in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, right?
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Welcome.
So before we start, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, obviously, but first I want to tell you a little story. Like when I first came to Dubai in April this year, I was deciding whether I wanted to move to Dubai and if it made sense for me. And I booked an Airbnb apartment in Dubai Harbor for 6 days. And just out of coincidence, that was your apartment. And I checked in there and I was just blown away how smooth everything was. Like everything, all the way from the check-in, the communication, how the apartment was set up, the furniture. It was so good. I was blown away.
Amazing. Thanks for that. I mean, it's a very good feedback and always happy to have travelers from around the world coming to our apartments.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, just thinking like 6 months ago when I came there, I was just checking out Dubai and thinking that 6 months later or 7 months later, I would be in a podcast with the head of like Silk House in the UAE. It's just crazy. So like, I just wanted to tell you like how thankful I am that you're here.
My pleasure to be here.
All right. So before we get into all the questions, like I want to ask you so many questions. I want to go into just Silk House, what you do. I want to go into your story, how you ended up in Dubai and how you ended up doing what you're doing. And I want to go into details in like strategy, like pricing strategy, how to set up the apartment correctly, subleasing, and just a bunch of things. Before we go into that, can you just tell us a little bit about Silk House and what you do?
Sure. So as you said, I'm the country head of Silk House in the UAE.
Yeah.
Silk House is a PropTech startup. Sorry. It's born and raised in the UAE. We are trying to reinventing flexible living using technology for property management, basically.
Okay, that's cool. And what do you do in Silk House? What's
your
role?
As a country head, I'm overlooking after the operations. So that goes from all the guest experience, from when they book, where they book, managing their check-in experience, their checkout, any requests that can arise during the stay. I'm also collaborating a lot with the real estate team to source the right assets, the right apartments. I'm also overlooking to our transformation team that are actually furnishing the apartment from A to Z to make them a Silk House apartment and make sure that these apartments are actually performing online.
Nice. So you're just making sure that everything runs smoothly. You're not actually talking to the guests or...
Not anymore. I've actually started my career like managing myself, the guests, managing the communication, managing all the scheduling of the task for the guests. So I've been through all of this.
Okay.
And my first responsibility today is to also build a team, put the right processes in place, use the right softwares in order to build the best experience possible for all our customers.
Yeah. Are you happy to be not communicating with all the guests anymore? Or I mean, now you have 300 apartments.
That's something actually very valuable for me to do time to time.
Okay.
Of course, it can be it's a lot of volume when you manage a certain number of apartments.
Yeah.
But I also believe that when you are very close to your customer, this is where you understand what they expect and how to build the best product for what they need as well.
Yeah. Would you say more of your time goes into making sure that the current apartments are running properly and you're getting good reviews and everything? Or is your role more into expanding and trying to grow the company?
So my role is exactly between both of that.
Yeah.
So of course, the first goal is to make sure that the guest experience is always as perfect as possible, that we get the best ratings. But is it also to grow the company, make sure our stakeholders are happy with the income, that our all the owners of these apartments are actually having good returns.
Yeah.
So we need to satisfy both stakeholders of our industry.
Yeah, because running so many apartments, hundreds and hundreds of apartments, it's such a huge operation. Like how many employees do you have?
We have between 30 and 40 employees currently. We are growing pretty fast. We're only a 2-year-old company, but we are growing super fast.
Yeah.
And how do we manage this volume of apartments? And this is why we are a prop tech company. It's with technology, with softwares, with like processes that we put in place to make sure that our operations are actually scalable, and not only to Dubai but also to different markets, like you mentioned Abu Dhabi, and hopefully in the future to different countries also in the GCC and in South Asia.
And these 30 or 40 employees, does that include cleaners, or do you outsource that to another company?
So we actually outsource a lot of our operations. Cleaning is one of them, as well maintenance. We have some staff in-house as well that are specialized in these fields, that are able to supervise, to give some training and mentoring to the stakeholders. But we are outsourcing these parts of the operations.
Yeah. So your employees consist of like people that are talking to the guests, setting up the new apartments, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. As well as some field agents that are actually going to the apartments to inspect them by themselves, making sure that our standards of quality are always met, because this, of course, leads to the best ratings that we can also get on the platform, which is very, very important in this industry that is very competitive, to always be the best rated apartment as well.
Especially in Dubai, it's so competitive here. Like I'm from Iceland, and there's pretty much no professional operators in Iceland. It's all just some guys like me running Airbnb apartments. And I bet you're from France. What is it like there? Is there a lot of professional holiday home companies?
There are a lot of professional holiday home companies in France, but there is also a big chunk of individual owners renting out their apartment. Dubai is very professional, as you said. Like if you look at the first pages of Airbnb when you look for an apartment, all the first pages will be all professional handling apartments, and handling also big portfolios of apartments.
And it is so important, if you're a guest, to actually go with one of these professional companies, because then you know you're going to be serviced well. It's a little bit risky going with somebody that isn't professional, because you never know if you're going to be serviced properly. Don't you agree with that?
I completely agree, and this is why having a market with a lot of professional operators is also something good for the travelers, because these companies are professional and they know how to handle cleaning, maintenance, guest communication. So the customers can expect also a better level of service than they will get with an individual owner trying his best to manage an apartment. It's actually a job to fully manage an Airbnb, as you know. You cannot be a property manager because you want to be. Like you need to have skills in different domains. And I think it takes also a lot of time in order to be constantly online, to assist your guests. 24 hours around the clock, some issues can happen and you have to give them support. This is why I truly believe that for the end customers, booking something that is professionally managed, it's much better for the experience.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going with a non-professional company, that host is not going to be responding to your inquiries in the middle of the night. If you're checking in the middle of the night, they're asleep. There's no way you can get a hold of them. So, but of course, if you get a much better deal, if you're getting, when I'm looking at an Airbnb, I especially look for professional companies. Like that's why I booked your apartment when I came in April. But if I see an individual and it's a lot cheaper, then maybe I'll take the risk. But so I want to go into more detail about what your company is offering for people. So what you do, if I'm not mistaken, so you help owners manage their apartment. So say there's an owner that owns an apartment and he wants to maximize his revenue for his apartment. He can either just rent it long-term, get a long-term tenant in for 1 or 2, 3 years, or he can have a company like yours run the apartment as an Airbnb and on booking.com and other websites. You take a percentage of the revenue, like 20%, and then he takes the rest. Isn't that correct?
It's completely correct. So yeah, there is, as you said, 2 models in Dubai, which is long-term and short-term. We also offering a lot of flexibility to the homeowners if they want to do short-term, because for example, if they travel often to Dubai, they can stay in their own apartment because they are not putting it on long-term. It also gives them a lot of flexibility if they are planning to flip the property and resell it. That can also happen. This is where we are bringing a lot of value. It's like we are offering a lot of flexibility to the homeowners. So we are taking care from A to Z of the property management, so the owner doesn't have to worry about anything. We have a team that can set up the apartment, like furnish it, design it very nicely to make sure it performs on short term. Then we will do like professional photo shooting of the apartment, listing the apartments on different platforms, as you mentioned. Obtaining the booking, managing every guest arrival, in-stay communication, maintenance issues, cleaning after the stay, trying our very best to obtain the best rating possible to also displays on the ranking of the listing on each website, and this is what brings more and more attractivity to the listing and the performance.
Yeah, and okay, so say you're an owner that owns an apartment. What is the process for him to have you manage it? What does the process for the owner look like?
Sure. So basically, we will first send one of our real estate experts to the apartment. They will visit the apartments, assess the potential performance of the apartment on short term, like give the homeowner like a kind of projection of revenue. Then we will help the owner to furnish the apartment in the best way possible. So either we can give him our advice and he can do it himself, either we can furnish it for him, and in this case we are taking care of the full furnishing of the apartment. Once this is done, we organize the photo shooting, we list it, and we start getting bookings. And once the apartments get booked, we are giving every landlord like a dashboard where they can actually follow the performance of their apartment. They can see the monthly occupancy, they can see every single booking, they can see the name of the guest, how much the guest pays, etc. So we are very transparent on giving this reporting to our owners. And of course, we are paying them their part of the revenue every month.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's such a no-brainer for me to, if I own an apartment, to run it as an Airbnb or have a company like yours run it as an Airbnb, just because there's so many benefits. But maybe we'll go into that a little bit in detail later, because first I want to get to know you a little better. And even before that, I want to ask. So this is the model that is called revenue share, where you share the revenue with the owner. What I'm doing is a little different. I came to Dubai because I'm also in the Airbnb business in Iceland, and I wanted to expand it here to Dubai. But what I do is different. Instead of managing an apartment for an owner and splitting the revenue, I rent the apartment long term. I just go into the rental market, normal rental market, and I ask the agent or the owner, I want to rent your apartment for 1 or 2, 3 years, but is it okay if I put it on Airbnb and Booking.com and make a profit? So that's my model. And right now I have 6 apartments in Dubai, and I'm trying to grow that to 100. And this model has pros and cons compared to what your main business is, because this way I don't have to manage the owner's expectations as much. I can just focus on the guests. I know I'm going to have the apartment for a long time, and all the profit I make above the rent I'm paying is mine. So there's potential to make more revenue this way. But however, I have to put out a lot of my own capital. I have to pay for all the furniture. I have to pay for deposit, agent's commission. I have to pay for a lot of stuff. What do you think about this model, and is it something that you do as well?
So that's actually something that we do as well, leasing and subleasing the apartments. I think it's a very interesting model as well, but it's capital intensive, as you said. You need to engage a lot of your money in order to scale a portfolio. If you are only doing it this way of leasing and subleasing on short term, that's something very interesting. I mean, these are the two key of the business model. Like you do like revenue share, and we do leasing. I think revenue share, it's more interesting in order to scale a portfolio for big operators like us. For an individual, it can also be very interesting to do as you do, if you have some capital to put up front to like lease and sublease apartments.
Yeah, because especially if you're new in a market. Say if I came in here like I did 6 months ago, and if I'm trying to convince owners to manage their apartments for a percentage, it's going to be very hard for me to convince them to give me their apartment, because I don't have any credibility here in Dubai. But if I just tell them I'm just gonna rent your apartment and I'm gonna pay you this amount no matter what happens, it's much easier.
Yeah.
But for you, like you're this incredibly established company, obviously, you know, you're gonna have a lot easier time attracting homeowners to manage their apartment. But okay, so about you, where are you from?
I'm from the south of France.
Okay.
I'm 30 years old. I'm in Dubai since 6 years now. I've been working all my career in this industry of short-term rental. Started in Paris. I was actually like an operation associate for also a short-term startup, a big operator that is operating mainly in Europe. And I started being like a concierge agent, like managing the guest communication, managing the check-ins, the check-out, the cleaning. So I've been through all this aspect of the operation in this industry. 3 years later, I came to Dubai to actually launch operation for the same company. I was head of operations for this player, and I stayed 4 years with them in Dubai. And 2 years ago, I met Anne, the CEO of Silk House, and I was actually the third employee of Silk House. So I also have built the foundation of our operations for Silk House in Dubai. And today I'm actually the country head of Silk House, managing a much larger portfolio of apartments between Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
That's crazy. And so you said you're from Paris.
I'm from south of France.
South of France.
But I started working in Paris in this industry. Yeah.
So you're from the same place as Thomas I interviewed last week. Are you from the same city or
same like south of like same region? Yeah.
All right, and you're born 1990.
93.
93.
93.
Oh wow, I forget how old I'm. I'm born 1995. So for some reason I thought I was 25. But okay, that's great. So this company that you work for in Paris, they also have operations in Dubai.
Yeah, they launched the operation in Dubai 4 years ago, and this is why they sent me from Paris to Dubai.
Is this guest ready?
Is it guest ready?
Okay.
It is guest ready, yeah.
I see. Yeah, they have operations in all over Europe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you started working with them in Paris. How old were you then?
It was just after my master degree. That was actually I started as an internship after my master degree, and I was.
What's your master's degree?
I studied business management and innovation, and nice. In order to validate my master degree, I had to do a 6-month internship, and actually pick a brand new startup that was guest ready back then.
Why did you decide to start working with them, or just in the Airbnb?
Since I'm young, I really like hospitality. My place in south of France is attracting a lot of tourists during the summer season, and my first summer jobs were actually in hospitality. I used to work in a campground, in restaurants as a waiter. Like I was doing this kind of small winter jobs in between my studies, and I think this is where I catch my interest for hospitality in general. And then when I had to choose an internship, I pick a new hospitality startup. Since I'm young, I also want to build businesses, to start from scratch. And this is why I really love, this is why I picked this startup, Guestery, that was actually launching. And I was the first intern starting with them. And 6 years after, this is where I am, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then how did you end up coming to Dubai?
So when I was working for this company in Paris, they decided to open their operation in Dubai. And they actually wanted to send someone knowledgeable about setting up operations for this for the same business in a new market. So they proposed me to relocate to Dubai to be part of the launching team.
And did you decide to do the move just because you were excited about Dubai, or were you mostly just excited about being part of growing something new?
Actually, both. I mean, I was really keen to also travel the world, like having a different experience in a different country. So like putting my career into like an international perspective, that's something that was really motivating for me. And also being part of like a high potential startup that was growing very fast. That's something that was also very exciting for me. Yeah.
And do you ever think about going back, or just sold on Dubai?
I think I have found a good place to stay in Dubai. Like it's a very amazing city. There is a lot of opportunities, very comfortable life. I'm definitely planning to go back to France in a couple of years. But I think the professional environment in Dubai is just exceptional and super nice to be working in this city.
Yeah. For me, Iceland is such a tiny country, or our population is only 400,000 people, or even less than that. So there's always this burning desire inside of most of us from Iceland to explore, to move somewhere else. And is it the same with French people? Do you think there's a lot of people from France in Dubai?
I guess so, and I think nowadays like young people and they want to travel the world, they want to explore different opportunities, and I think that's completely worth it for any young individual to like travel a little bit before settling up somewhere for good, right? Knowing where is the best place for you to be and find the best environment possible to meet your personal objectives as well.
Yeah, totally. But what are your goals? Like, are you just trying to make as much money as possible and investing, or what are your goals, like financial goals, personally?
So I'm actually on the process of building my own portfolio, and I'm currently purchasing my first apartment.
Nice.
To do short term as well.
Okay.
So my personal goal will be to build a small portfolio of apartments in order to generate passive income in the future.
Yeah.
That's my personal goal, and professionally, I'm always keen to learn more and to take like bigger responsibility as well. This is something that really makes me motivated every day, and trying to build like the best company possible and scale as big as possible. That's something that really wakes me up every morning.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And you're not going to sublease your apartments on your own, or you're just buying apartments on your own? And
so right now I'm buying an apartment on my own, and my idea is to do short term with this apartment.
Okay.
I'm not planning to do subleasing and leasing, because this is what I do with Silk House.
Yeah.
And this is what something we do. So I'm not gonna.
That would be a conflict of interest.
That's gonna be a conflict
bit.
of interest, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So, all right, if we go a little more into Silk House, I want to understand this huge company a little better. So why should why should an owner of apartment choose to list their apartment with you guys instead of just running it on their own as an Airbnb?
That's a very good question. So, like, managing an apartment takes a lot of time, a lot of knowledge. There is a lot of things that needs to be put in place in order to generate successful income. It goes from like creating, like, first is like the furnishing of the apartment. How does it look? Maybe your tastes are not my taste, and I think you need a professional interior designer as well to tell you what will be the best looking apartment to work on short term. The pricing management as well is something that needs to be handled professionally, I think, especially in a very competitive market like Dubai. We are really here to help homeowners, like, from A to Z, taking all the hassle of managing apartments on us. If you do it, it takes a lot of time if an owner wants to do it by himself. You need to manage all your guest communication, all your cleaning, your linen management, the laundry, all the maintenance issues. It's a full-time job, and unless an individual has a lot of time to spend and wants to manage his apartment on his own, I think it's much better to use a professional company to do so.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, unless you have even if you have a lot of time, your skills are just always gonna make more than if the individual is running it themselves, if they're a beginner.
Yeah.
But the only time I would say you should run the apartment yourself is if you plan on getting multiple apartments and you want to run them yourself and you want to build like the portfolio yourself. Because if you're just gonna have one apartment, it's gonna take you such a long time to generate the skills needed to maximize the revenue, like you can, because there's just so many factors that go into it that you're gonna lose money. Because if you're a beginner, you're gonna, like, just from furnishing the apartment, you have to do that correctly. You have to take the right photos. You have to have the description correct. The pricing is huge. Like, I know you use a software, Price Labs, right? I use Price Labs as well. Price Labs is a software that like automatically detects the supply and demand of each day. So that's a huge advantage. And just getting good reviews. Like, you have hundreds of apartments, and I saw on your profile you have almost 5 stars on all the apartments. If you're new, you are much more likely to slip up and have an unhappy guest. And if you don't have 5 stars, that's going to cost you so much on your revenue. But that being said, you also have to be careful with picking the right management company, because there's so many management companies here in Dubai that just don't do it correctly. But Silk House definitely does. And there's a few others, of course, that do it very well as well. But there's so many that do it very badly. And that's costing the homeowner a lot of money.
Completely agree on this point. You're also competing with professional players if you're doing on your own, right? If someone doesn't know anything about short term and wants to do it on his own, he will have to learn from his mistake, right? He will not set up the price correctly. He might, if he try to put it on 2 different platforms, he might get double bookings, then cancellation that affect the reviews, that you have to give refund to your customers, and you are competing, especially in Dubai, you are competing with professional peoples that are doing this for like years. They have a huge experience. They have softwares in place that helps them to manage all these apartments very efficiently. So doing it on your own is also kind of risky and very time consuming as well for something big, for a beginner.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you have a lot of time and you want to do this yourself, you see yourself doing this for multiple years, then sure, go ahead, do it yourself and practice and get the skills. And for sure, in that case, I would say manage it yourself. But what about, you talked about furnishing. You furnish the apartments for homeowners. What is the ideal amount to spend to furnish an apartment?
For a studio apartment, we spend about 25,000 dirham. For 1 bedroom, 35,000 dirham. And for 2 bedroom, it goes around 45,000 dirham. I don't think it's a matter of the price necessarily. Like, I'm always advising apartment owners not go like too fancy or picking furniture that are very expensive, because the apartment is going to be very used by the guests. Like a lot of people will actually come and stay. So I think it's more about the design and the quality of the furniture, but not. It doesn't mean necessarily like having like very expensive furnitures.
Yeah, I agree. I've always with my units. I have 30 units in Iceland and now 6 here in Dubai, and I've always spent a lot on furniture. I want my units to stand out. But that being said, I don't buy any really expensive individual unit items. I just buy good quality, affordable items. But I do everything. I put turf on the ground. I put wallpaper on the walls, and I just do everything. But I see on your apartments, some apartments have like wallpaper. They have they're fully stocked. Like the one I stayed at, I was shocked how nice it was. But some apartments are more economy, like the walls are painted very nicely, there's quality furniture. But why is there a difference in some apartments are just super stacked with nice furniture and some are like more economy?
So the list of the furnitures is always the same. We are trying to have different kind of standards, if I can say, in terms of furnitures, to have like some property that where you can have a more luxurious feeling, and some property that are, as you said, a little bit more like economy or budget friendly. Yeah, but
they still look good.
It also depends of the location in Dubai, right? If you get apartments in the Palm or in downtown, you really want to stand out, because the competition is very high, and there is a lot of guests looking for this specific area. That means you really need to stand out. But if you are exploring an area where there is not many Airbnbs, where maybe the customers are more price sensitive, then you will not spend as much in your furniture package, but you will still manage to attract a lot of bookings. What is very important is, like, even if you go a little bit lower on the furnishing cost, you should always give all the amenities that the guest needs during their stay. Make sure that the furnitures are good quality and they can last in the time, and make sure that you maintain your apartment always in a good condition.
How long do you think furniture lasts in one Airbnb apartment? Can you do with the same sofa for 5 years?
I think so. You can. It all depends on the furniture you pick. You can always kind of renovate your furnitures, reupholster the couch or bed frame, for example. Yeah. We try also to avoid very bright colors. Like, I will never advise someone to take a white couch or a white carpet in an Airbnb apartment, because whenever you will have a family staying, you can have stains and you should always avoid like very, very clear materials, very bright materials, I would say. Same as fabric, for example. If you put fabric everywhere, then you might get stains very easily everywhere. So try to choose materials that you can easily maintain and clean. and also train your cleaning companies to make sure that they are always very picky and detail oriented when they clean the apartment, because of course every guest is expecting like spotless cleaning every time.
Yeah, makes sense. And yeah, so you have your own interior designer, right, that does the furniture. That's why you can do it so affordably. You said 45,000 dirhams for a 2-bedroom?
2-bedroom apartment, yeah.
Yeah, so in dollars, that's about $12,000 to furnish. So I actually, when I came first to Dubai, and I had obviously no interior designer, I had to have a third-party company, and I spent 65,000 dirhams to furnish my 2-bedroom apartment, but that was with a third-party company, and obviously that's $17,000. So I've been lately just really trying to get that down, and thankfully I got now I have a deal that I'm doing 45,000 dirhams per apartment to furnish everything, and I'm getting turf on the balcony, I'm getting wallpaper in every room, and yeah, that's 12,200. But the reason I got this deal is because I'm like promoting this company on Instagram a lot. Like I'm documenting my whole story on Instagram, and it's been getting some traction. So yeah, furniture, if you're subleasing, it's very important to cut down your costs as much as
it's
possible.
also mastering the full supply chain of furnitures, and you can also, like at scale, you can get discount from the vendors, right? If you are buying a certain number of items every month, you can also negotiate better price that decrease your furniture package, but not the quality, but decrease the price of individual items.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, because you buy in such like amounts.
Yeah.
You buy like...
We negotiate bulk deals in order to minimize our furniture cost, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you focus so much on studios and 1-bedroom apartments? I know like 90% of your apartments are studios and 1-bedroom apartments.
So that's a good point. So we don't exclude bigger apartments than studios and 1-bedroom. We are very keen to also take some 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom and bigger apartments. We a big segment of our sales is actually directed to B2B bookings and corporates. Dubai is a market like super seasonal. If you focus only on tourism, then your apartments will perform very well during the winter month, but during the summer month, you're gonna struggle to find tourists to stay in your apartment because of the temperature and the seasonality of the market. We are really focusing in this B2B segment because corporates have requests along the year to put their staff or their business travelers into our apartments, and this is to answer their needs that we are having a majority of studios and 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay, so you say in the summer's obviously a very low season in Dubai. You're saying it's easier to get the 1-bedroom and studio apartments occupied in the summer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's also that you if you focus on B2B travelers,
what do you mean B2B travelers?
So we are partnering with companies in Dubai that we're trying to be their relocation partner. So whenever they have staff traveling to Dubai for meetings, for events, they will come to our apartments. And this demand is throughout the year. Then the seasonality factor doesn't affect our occupancy during the summer because we have all these apartments that will be potentially occupied by these corporates booking.
Yeah, so that's another thing I wanted to talk about was the occupancy in the summer, because a lot of people worry about how their Airbnb apartment is going to be occupied in the summer. How is your like occupancy rate in the summer? Is it mostly booked?
Yeah, so we managed to maintain a very good occupancy during the summer because of a lot of effort made on marketing, on pricing, on bulk deals, on corporate deals. So we are pretty satisfied with our occupancy during the summer.
Yeah, for me, a lot of people ask me about that, and what I say, like when I moved to Dubai, I actually moved here with a job that I applied for with a holiday home operator here in Dubai, a very small one, and they had 20 Airbnb apartments, and I came in the middle of July, and everything was vacant because it was the low season. And I thought it was a little bit strange why everything was vacant. And after like working with the company for a few weeks, and what we did was we just improved all the units, improved the photos, improved the descriptions, and lowered the price a lot. And then we got bookings. So I feel like just even though it's a low season, there's still a lot of people in Dubai, and those people have to stay somewhere. So as long as you have a very well presented Airbnb apartment and you have a competitive price, you are like, if you go on Airbnb and you look at your apartments and your apartment is one of the lowest priced, it's going to get booked. So you can have a 90% occupancy in the summer if you want, but you're just going to make a lot less in the summer than in the peak months.
Exactly. There is, and your apartments always need to stand out. In order for your apartment to be booked and not another apartment, there is the price, of course, but also the ratings that you are getting, the furniture, the photos. All of these are super important factors that brings the bookings or not.
Yeah. What about subleasing? Since I just do subleasing, and I've just been subleasing for the past like 3 years. And and the area I've been focusing on is 2-bedroom apartments in downtown Dubai. What do you feel like are good places in Dubai or Abu Dhabi to sublease in, and what bedroom count? What do you look for when you're subleasing apartments?
So when we sublease, any kind of apartment, subleasing or rev share, like we are always trying to target the best area of each city. So in Dubai, I would say the best area will be like downtown, Business Bay, GIFC. This will be one. And then you have another hub, which will be around Marina, with Marina, GLT, the Palm Jumeirah. These are the two biggest areas of Dubai. There is, what is very exciting about Dubai is like there is new construction everywhere, new districts that are being built every year. And we are actually also operating in area like Dubai Hills, like GVC, recently as well in the Creek. And we can also see very good performance in this secondary area, if I can say.
Dubai Hills, you can sublease apartments in Dubai Hills and make a profit.
Of course. Yeah. So
I'll tell people a little bit. Like, I'm so transparent with my numbers. I have 2 deals in downtown views.
Yeah.
2-bedroom apartments, brand new downtown, almost directly connected to the Dubai Mall, and I'm renting each apartment for 130,000 dirhams a year. And I'm scheduled to make about 300 dirhams for the year. And then I'm going to pay like 30,000 in utilities. And I'm going to be left with a profit of about, 100 to 140,000 dirhams for the year. So in dollars, I'm going to be making like $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a great place to do that, downtown Dubai with a good view of the Burj Khalifa. What about 1-bedroom apartments in Dubai Hills and 1-bedroom apartments in Marina? What do the numbers look like there if you're subleasing?
I guess the market in Dubai Hills today, because the market is moving also pretty fast in Dubai. I think in Dubai Hills you are around between 80,000 and 100,000 dirham per year for 1 bedroom. Marina will be more or less around 100,000 per year for 1 bedroom as well. Yeah,
that's actually great, because I've like, when I crack the numbers, I struggle to see that working. But I guess maybe just because you have so many more resources, like you have the partners that increase your occupancy, and maybe that's why you have such an easier time getting good profits on the 1 bedroom. One thing I've been seeing lately is the rental market in Dubai is coming down a little bit. Have you felt that as well?
It's coming down these days a little bit, but it went super high the previous year. It went high like quite intensively. Now we can see it's coming down a little bit.
Yeah, because I've been looking at 3-bedroom apartments in downtown Dubai, and in downtown views, there were just a month ago, agents were asking 300,000 dirhams or like 280,000 dirhams for a 3-bedroom apartment there. Right now, I see owners accepting 225. So it's coming down a lot, especially owners with those big apartments. So what do you think it's going to go, like once we get closer to the summer and the low season, is it going to go down even more? What do you think?
It's very difficult to try to guess the market. It always depends. It's a market, right? So it depends how many apartments are vacant and how many landlords are actually looking to put them to get a tenant.
Yeah.
I think it's a market with demand and supply, as simple as that. There is period of the year where Dubai is so busy and you cannot find anything to rent, long term or short term. It's like very crowded, and during the summer there is a lot of vacant stock.
Yeah.
So it's a market that moves very, very intensely, and this is also why is it fascinating to work in such an environment.
I think it's just because, or I've heard that it's because there's just so many new buildings coming in that for a certain period of time, it might be harder to get these units rented long term. But this is good news for you and me, because like if we're subleasing, it's going to be cheaper for us to pick up units. Yeah. And it's also good news for a company like yours, because if you're an owner that has an apartment and they might take a long time to find a long-term tenant, but if they like you have the apartment, you're just going to get occupied right away and you're going to start getting bookings right away. So you and me, we don't have to worry about that much. But okay. So are you doing do you do a lot of work in Abu Dhabi as well?
Yeah, we launched our operations in Abu Dhabi. We already have a good portfolio of apartments in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is also a very interesting market because it's very new. The DET, which is the equivalent of DCT, Department of Culture and Tourism, they are the authorities in Abu Dhabi allowing short-term operators. They just released a new regulation a couple of months ago to open up the market actually in Abu Dhabi. There is two areas that we are trying to focus on in Abu Dhabi. One is Rim Island, which is like a very interesting part of Abu Dhabi with brand new buildings, a lot of corporates, a lot of companies. This is where you can find most of the business in Abu Dhabi happening. And the other one is around Yas Island, where it's like more for tourists because there is a lot of event. There is Ferrari World. Recently we had the Formula One Grand Prix.
What did you say that area was called?
Yas Island.
Yas Island.
Yeah.
Is that an actual island?
It is a very big island. Yeah, it is a very big island, and there you will find a lot of brand new development, a lot of villas, a lot of apartments, and you will find a lot of seasonality factor there because it's an island where everything is made for tourism. So I believe the occupancy during the high season is going to be much better than during the low season. But in a place like Rim Island, you can really play with also the B2B booking and the corporate booking in order to have a good occupancy throughout the year.
Do you do any subleasing there?
We're exploring both options in Abu Dhabi as well, subleasing, leasing and revenue sharing.
Do you think I should look at Abu Dhabi for subleasing?
I think Abu Dhabi is a very interesting market. There is not a lot of competition yet because they just opened up the regulation. So I think you should definitely look in Abu Dhabi as well, yeah.
I looked just like a little bit. I saw 2-bedroom apartments in great areas were going for just less than 100,000. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And do you think you can make on Airbnb and Book.com similar numbers than as in Dubai, or is it a little bit lower, the revenue?
It will depend on the location and the apartment grade, but I think the percentage of revenue will be kind of similar. Like if in Dubai you manage to make 40% or 50% profit, I think you can expect the same kind of return in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. The good part about Abu Dhabi again is like there is not a lot of competition yet, so you will not struggle as much as in Dubai for your property to stand out on the platform.
Yeah, I've never even been to Abu Dhabi, so I'll have to check it out.
It's a great city.
What about villas? Do you manage any villas?
Not yet. That's not something we explored yet.
Yeah.
I think operationally it's way more intensive in order to manage the garden, the swimming pool, for example. If there is any, it's another scope of work that we will have to unlock and to learn. There is definitely a big potential, especially in Dubai. If you go to the Palm Jumeirah, there is amazing villas that are going for very high price as well during the high season. I think there is a market for sure for villas, but that's not something we are doing yet.
Yeah, I feel like on Airbnb here in Dubai, I would think there was a massive market for super high luxury apartments and villas, but when you go on Airbnb, you don't find a lot of these super high luxury units and villas. Well, why do you think that is? Or do you agree?
I agree. I think like they might be using different OTAs to distribute their apartment to find the bookings.
Okay.
There is some OTAs that are a little bit more luxury or
OTAs, that's what's OTA?
like the booking channel.
Yeah, like Booking or Airbnb.
Yeah, I don't think Booking.com or Airbnb are completely made for villas or very luxurious property. But I know a few other platforms that can be used to attract like to post luxury properties and attract these kind of bookings.
What are the best platforms to use in Airbnb?
Um,
In Dubai.
So we are putting our apartment on multiple. We try to diversify the source of booking. So we are putting our apartments on different platforms. Of course, Airbnb, Booking.com, they are the biggest ones. We are also present on Expedia, VRBO, Trip.com, Make My Trip. It's also coming. We are really trying to be on this top 10 OTAs, if I can say. We also try to promote our apartments in our own website to get like direct booking and also build our brand and reputation, as well as local platforms such as Property Finder, Bayut, also local like real estate partners that are also pitching our apartments to potential clients that really help us to also attract monthly bookings, for example, and that's also a way for you to get occupancy during the summer. So try to find people that are willing to take your apartment for a month or for 3 months during the low season month for a lower price, but that guarantee you a stable income during this difficult time of the year.
Yeah, for me, in Iceland, I use Airbnb, Booking.com, and VRBO. But in Dubai, I'm still only on Airbnb. But I just told my virtual assistants to add it on Booking.com now. The reason why I'm only on Airbnb still is I just want to keep everything super simple to start with. Because obviously you have so many resources. You have 24 employees or more, and you can just make sure that there are no mistakes happening. But for me, I just wanted to make sure everything was clean, no mistakes were happening. And now I'm going on Booking.com, and I think I'll probably just stay on these two. Because I feel like the market in Dubai is just so big that as long as you have a competitive offer, your apartment is going to get booked on these platforms. I don't think you need to have so many platforms. Maybe it's going to give you a 0.5% better return, but I feel like, especially if you're managing on your own, just stay on Airbnb. If you're just starting, but obviously if you have the resources like you do, and you have virtual assistants, you have employees, then yeah, it makes sense to just go on all the platforms.
It makes a lot of sense to diversify the source of your bookings, because if you are completely dependent of Airbnb, for example, in your case, in case for any reason you have customers leaving you very bad ratings, for any reason they had something broke during their stay and they leave you bad ratings and you lose your super host status, for example, then you will struggle for your listing to stay attractive. And having different platform secured you in the sense that in case for any reason your Airbnb profile gets damaged because of one bad experience, you can get bookings from other platform to compensate the loss of Airbnb. So that's just to diversify to split your risk and diversify. I would advise you to use at least Booking.com on top and maybe Expedia or another channel on top of that.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I'll tell one experience that I had in Iceland. I have this villa there that I run as an Airbnb and on Booking.com and VRBO, and we have a garage next to it where we store a lot of items. And one time our driver was going to pick up items in the garage, and he thought the apartment was vacant, so he just went right in. And obviously the guests were like very disturbed that somebody just went into the unit without asking. So they complained to Airbnb, and Airbnb shut down the listing.
Wow. So
in that case, it was very important for me to be on Booking.com and VRBO. So that's definitely a good point. And I've heard that there's cases where Airbnb just shuts down your entire account. Obviously, that's not going to happen to somebody that like runs their listings very professionally like you do. But it's still a possibility. So you're definitely right that diversifying and having many sources of people coming is important. But I'd still say if you're just getting started, if you're 1 or 2 units, just focusing on mastering one platform is the best way to go. But as soon as you're expanding, that's a good point. What about we don't have a lot more time, so one thing I really want to talk about is pricing strategy.
Yeah.
So both of us use a software called Price Labs, which is so nice because it automatically detects supply and demand of each day. For us, if we're managing hundreds or tens of units, it's very hard for us to detect each day. Like there's weekends are in more demand than weekdays. We're not going to go in and just change every day ourselves. This platform actually makes the weekends more expensive than the weekdays. It's going to pick up holidays like, I don't know, Valentine's Day and whatever days that we're not going to remember.
Yeah.
So what other benefits do you see in Price Labs?
I think it's very important to use a pricing software and having putting tech into the picture in order to be able, as you said, to maximize the profit in case there is events during the year or peak period like weekends. It's very, very important, especially when you start managing a group of apartments, to use technology to help you pricing your properties. There is another feature that I really like with this software Price Lab. It also changed the price every day a little bit by a couple of dirhams or a couple of dollars, and that really plays with the algorithm of the channel like Airbnb or Booking.com and because the price is moving, then your listing will be ranked better because for the platform it has been refreshed, it has been upgraded, so that's why they will also help you on the ranking because they see that you are taking action on your listing.
Yeah. So I saw this. So in my Price Labs, the price just updates every 24 hours. But I saw that they did offer to have your listing update twice a day or even more often. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So even if it's once a day, that's enough because the price should be moving a little bit every day. A little bit, like it can be a little bit more, a little bit less, but every day the price should be moving a little bit.
Yeah.
What is also very very crucial for a company at our scale is to be able to set price strategy for a group of apartments.
Exactly.
Because if you have 5 apartments, you can actually take the time to like build a different strategy per apartment maybe. But if you manage like a large portfolio, you cannot do it individually anymore. So you really have to group your apartments. For example, 1 bedroom in downtowns, 1 bedroom in Business Bay, and you can have the similar like base price and minimum price and high price, and then the software can play with these rates to maximize your income.
And there's so many other things that are good with this software because obviously you don't want to take 1 day bookings far out in the future because that's just going to block longer bookings that might happen. But you do want to allow 1 day bookings if there's a gap in the calendar. If there's a 1 day gap in the calendar, you do want to allow 1 day stay for this day. But if you have 300 apartments, you're not going to be able to go in manually and open up every gap. So you can set this setting that it automatically opens up gaps in your calendar. So if there's a 1 day gap, it opens up the 1 day. If there's a 2 day gap, it opens up for 2 days. And this is just like, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with this software. But the biggest thing I want to talk about is, so I have a company in Iceland and in Dubai, and they're very different. The markets are very different. In Iceland, it's much a smaller market. We have probably just 1/10 of the tourists coming in Iceland than in Dubai. So I have to make sure that my listing is competitively priced far out in the future, because if I want to be fully occupied, I have to start receiving bookings 2 or 3 months into the future, just to make sure that my calendar will be fully booked when it comes to the day. But in Dubai, it's a little different, because as soon as you have a competitive price, as soon as you have the best offer in the market, it's going to get booked. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's 3 months away or if it's just tomorrow. So in Iceland, I discount my prices far out in the future. I set on Price Lab, I have a 50% discount that starts 55 days out, and then it gradually increases. Right now, I'm trying to figure out where I should put that in Dubai, where I should have my discounting start. Should I have it start 15 days out? And should it be a 30% discount? What do you think? What do you use?
For me, it's actually the opposite. Like the price for far out bookings should be higher.
Yeah.
And the price for last minute booking, like this is where you should apply your discount. Means if your calendar is not booked for today, today, the first night, maybe you can add like a 30% discount or even more to make sure you get a last minute booking from today. And setting a high price for the future might secure very high value bookings for the future as well. And you can still decrease the price as you go to this future date. You can decrease the price on the way, right? We are not getting. I can see in Dubai the majority of our bookings are last minute. A lot of them are like within a window of like 0 to 7 days to the check-in, and because of the number of tourists and how attractive Dubai is, there is a lot of people booking last minute. We are not getting a lot of bookings that are like 3 or 4 months in the future, even though our calendars are open. And
yeah, but 3 or 4 months out, are you still competitive? Is it possible for you to get a booking? Like, do you actually get some bookings?
Yeah, we are getting some bookings in the future as well, but not the majority of them. The majority are short notice bookings. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I hear you, but I'm just not convinced myself. I want to get booked at least 2 or 3 weeks out. I want to be starting to get bookings, but obviously I'm new in the market here in Dubai, so I'm just trying to figure this out. Maybe it's different because I have like a lot more bigger units. I have 2-bedroom apartments, 3-bedroom apartments. Obviously, there's less people ready to book that, but with studios and 1-bedroom apartments, there's always people on the platform looking to book it. But it's harder for me to trust that last minute somebody's going to come in ready to book a 3-bedroom. So yeah, so I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do my pricing strategy, and still I am discounting my prices starting from like 20 days out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's impossible to find the right way to do this. But yeah, I guess do you have people in your company that are just dedicated to this?
Yeah, we have a pricing manager, like an expert in this field that is doing this all day long and making sure that he maximizes every calendar and every price. Like this is a full-time job.
Yeah, I have to talk to that guy.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's our master in Price Lab. He's the one actually playing chess all day long to like maximize every calendar, make sure that we are not losing days.
Yeah.
Make sure that we are putting last minute strategy and also long-term strategy to attract the best bookings.
Yeah, I could have a 1-hour podcast just with him about pricing.
I can definitely introduce him to you. Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about is, do you use any like noise detectors or ring cameras to avoid parties? What's your strategy on that?
We don't we are not using like cameras or noise detector. We are trying to accept guests that have like a good track records on the platform. Like we are also they are checking our ratings when they book, but we are also checking their ratings. And if we see that they have partied in the past or they have destroyed apartments in the past, we will not accept this kind of bookings. We are also being very clear with the house rules of the apartment with the customer, so they know what they are allowed to do, what they are not allowed to do. And we are also collecting their passport copy and their documents. So in case of like something really happen, they know that like we will have the information in case there is something.
What if a guest damages something, like the shower glass? That happened to me. Somebody broke the shower glass. Do you charge the guest for that?
So it depends of the nature of the damage. If it's something very small, most of the time we fix it ourselves and we will not charge the guest.
Because it always risks a bad review if you charge.
Exactly. But if it's something more consequent that costs you a lot of money, I will always advise you to talk to the guest, try to find a solution in between, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a huge cost for you and he broke it. Especially if you use Airbnb, I think they have a very good resolution center where you can build a claim against these guests and say with documentation, proof and quotation, you can say this is what has been broken, this is what it cost. And Airbnb can help you to actually collect this money from the guest. And in case these guests really refuse to pay, Airbnb they also have an insurance that they can activate to also compensate you for this loss.
But isn't, as soon as you give that charge to the guest, doesn't that risk giving you a bad review? That's much more costly for you than actual the money you're trying to charge?
It all depends of the guest, right? I mean, if I break something in an apartment, I understand it's my mistake and I will be keen to pay it. But
he understands.
And if it's an accident, they might not be okay to pay, right?
Yeah. Also, you can often get Airbnb to remove the bad review if it's clear that they made this review in revenge of you charging for something.
If it's like a revenge review, indeed, you can also involve Airbnb to, and they can help you to.
Yeah, it's a tricky path to go about, but obviously with the resources you have, it's a lot easier than for somebody that's much smaller. All right, we're out of time. They're kicking us out. Thank you so much. If a homeowner wants you to manage their apartment, what's the best way to do it?
They can visit our website, silkhouse.com, and then they will find a place to register their interest, and they will be contacted via our real estate specialist, and they will get full clarity on about like how do we work and what is our services actually.
Nice. Yeah. I'll try to link that in the description.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.